Hello everyone, this is Ella Aquarela and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show you something that I do when I have artist block. Sometimes I just feel like putting paint to paper, playing around and enjoying the process. And I just don't want to worry about planning ahead for a painting, thinking about the composition or reserving white space or all that good stuff. So I just want to have fun with it. And today I felt like I had a bit of an artist block. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you what I do to try to warm up and overcome this. So I'm gonna start out with showing you the materials that I'm using. I'm gonna be using 100% cotton watercolor sketchbook by Rubens. It's hot pressed paper. I'm gonna be using my pretty excellent watercolor set that I featured in other videos. So usually when I have an artist block, I try to look at my camera roll on my phone. So when I go out on walks or trips, I take pictures and I save them on my phone on an album called Inspiration. So I go through that album when I need some inspiration. And today I found this picture of a rose that I had taken last year. I think somebody gave it to me in some holiday. So I thought it was a cute picture of a rose in my windowsill. It was like a tiny rosebud that opened. And I made a sketch of it in my sketchbook as inspiration. Now, if you don't think you're good at sketching or you're intimidated by sketching it, you can always trace it. You can use your iPad or your phone as a light box and sketch whatever it is that you want to paint. So I did sketch this ahead of time before actually even putting water on my paper, just because I want to make sure that I had the proportions right and I was able to erase and all that. You don't have to do this. You can actually doodle after you paint your background. So it's up to you, whatever works for you. So first I made the paper wet before making my wet on wet background. I did put some washi tape. I like some clean edges when I'm done painting. I find it very satisfying to lift the tape afterwards. And this is my brush. It's a silver black velvet brush. I'm using 2 sizes of brush. They come in a set of 3 that I found very useful. I'm using an 8 and a 3/4 inch. I will put a link below to those sets if you want to see them. I'm using a couple of colors. I'm using a warm red from this set. I think it's Crimson Lake Deep. And I'm using a cerulean blue. So I'm just gonna start by putting some paint on the paper. I'm not gonna really think about where I'm putting this or if it's going in the right place. I just wanna put paint on the paper and enjoy the process and enjoy painting. And I'm gonna let it do its thing and move around and mix. And then after this background is dry, I will come back and then I'll doodle on top of it my rose, and then I'll see where I can take the painting from there. So it's gonna be kind of an exploratory process. I don't have anything really planned ahead of time other than my sketch. And I picked 2 colors, those 2 colors, because I thought they were pretty. You can pick any 2 colors you want, really. It's up to you what you feel like, what your mood is like that day. I was feeling bright today, so I picked 2 bright colors. But this is meant to be fun and just to help you loosen up. This would also be a very great exercise for just warming up before painting something that's a bit more challenging. It helps you, to get the creative juices flowing. So here I'm just cleaning the edges of my tape to make sure that I don't get any back runs and that it's clean. So then I'm gonna let this dry and I'm gonna come back and start doodling on top of this. Okay, now that the background is dry, I'm gonna start doodling on top my flower that I sketched previously before doing my background. Now, like I said, you don't have to have a sketch in the bottom. You can do this part freelance. I was honestly just feeling a little nervous. I don't know why today. And I felt like just sketching it out on pencil first to make sure that I got it right. But sometimes when I'm not recording and I'm just playing on my own and that I don't really care what the end result will look like, it's just an exercise, then I will just doodle on top with my Sharpie pen. I'm just using a regular old Sharpie pen here. You can get this in any art supply store, even any like pharmacy or corner stores will have them. You don't need to use a Sharpie pen either. You can use any type of pen or pencil. You can use a ballpoint pen or a gel pen. Anything you have laying around, you can use. It doesn't really have to be exactly what I'm using. So I just go through like all my lines. I sketch this out. And then once I have it nice and sketched, then I start playing around with paint again. And I try to see what I can do to make this flower pop from the background, right? So right now, everything is kind of flat in terms of like paint colors. There's no contrast or anything. So I want to try to then play with some of the paint. I'm going to try to use the same colors I was using and maybe add a couple of more colors to this. I just want to try to make the flower and the jar pop. So I'm going to mix some of the warm yellow in this set with the same pink color that I was using before to try to put some color in the areas of the petals that I think would have the most contrast or have some sort of shadow. I'll use clean water to soften the edges and paint the rest of the petals and just let that paint disperse. I'm gonna mix some green for the leaves. So I'm using the same cerulean blue and the warm yellow to mix some green and just like put it on the leaves and the stem to make them stand out, right, versus the background. And I'll keep doing that with the rest of this picture. Now, because the background is all the same across the whole painting, the painting will be very cohesive because, you know, we kind of have this, we toned the paper basically here. And this flower will always have kind of that toned paper, you know, in the background. Watercolor is translucent, so you will see some of the color that's in the background. So that's one thing I love about kind of toning the paper and painting on top, because everything kind of looks very cohesive without having to plan ahead too much. So I'll just keep adding paint around the jar. I'll put some of that same blue around the jar where I see that there's some like shadows, some shading, and I'll mix it in with some clear water and let that paint disperse. And I'll just keep playing around and see what develops, right? And I'll put paint wet on some spots and let it flow. And I'll do different mixes of like more pink in one mix, maybe more blue in the other mix, without really putting too much thought into it or planning it too much. I just want to enjoy the process and have fun. So then I'm gonna let this layer dry after I'm done here, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna try to then continue working on the piece with the next layer. And now that this layer is dry, I'm gonna come back and try to fuss with it a little bit more. I decided to get some yellow paint and just put it on some of the brighter areas of the petals of this flower to make it pop even more versus the background. And I'll just keep fuzzing around with the rest of this, adding more paint here and there where I feel like I need a bit more interest, more contrast, or more brightness. And I'm gonna try to fuss around with the background a bit more after I'm done with this layer. Lately, I've been into using white watercolor paint for some reason. It's not something that I used to use at the beginning or for many years, but I've been trying to explore new things and try just different things with the same medium. And I think white watercolor is something that I've been wanting to explore. And since we're playing around here, I decided, you know, this is the time to play around and experiment and use it. Why not? So I decided to use the white watercolor and mix it with the same pink and blues that I was using before, or that I used for the background originally, and make a more opaque version of that pink and blue background. So that's what I did here. And I feel like it just gave it a little something extra. I can't quite put my finger on it. I feel like it was missing something before, and that helped me to kind of make the whole thing pop a little more, make it more interesting. I am going to use some white because I didn't reserve any white at the beginning, right? I just covered the whole page with paint, and I feel like it's missing a bit of brightness. So I'm going to use Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White ink. It's actually really opaque and very syrupy. So I love it for highlights, to put it on top of watercolor whenever I need to add some white, because I didn't reserve the white. So it's something that, you know, in this case, because I didn't plan ahead and I didn't want to fuss with masking fluids or anything like that, is a great solution to add some white at the end to give some dimension to the painting and make it pop a bit more versus the background. So it's the finishing touch for this piece. I feel like this piece is done. I'm really happy with it. I hope you found some inspiration in this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, please consider subscribing to get notifications, or go to my channel to see additional videos like this. I hope you all take care. You have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you around in my next video. Bye-bye.